The LSAT has changed forever, and the old way of studying, it's dead. Logic games are gone. There are half the practice tests there used to be, and the strategies you've got to use are completely different. So if you're still following the same old advice you found in a Reddit thread from 2012, you're in trouble. But the good news, this could be your advantage if you know what to do. Now, here's what top scorers are doing differently in 2025. A lot of folks think, because I've done a practice test before, it's spoiled, it's burned, I can't do it again. The thing is that there is still a ton of value that you could be getting from that same practice test, even if you've seen it before. Most students just take a test, they check their score, and they move on. But top scorers, they go back and they redo that test until every single mistake is resolved. Yes, it's the same test, and no, it's not cheating. You are extracting every insight question by question. Think about it like you're squeezing juice from a lemon. You want to squeeze all the juice out till there's nothing left. If you're not getting a perfect 180 on that redo, that test still has some value. Now, you also want to use the Socratic review method to make sure that you are extracting all the value. Think about the difference between a 160 scorer and a 175 scorer. The person with a 160 says, "Oh, I see what I did wrong. How could I have been so dumb?" In contrast, the 175 scorer says, "Wait, why did I think that wrong answer was right in the first place?" That is the Socratic review method in action. It's not about the answer, it's about the thinking, the process that led you there in the first place. How can you make sure that you will never make the same mistake again? Are you keeping a review log, a mistake journal, an error log of some kind, documenting your thought process that led you down the wrong path initially? Then upon reflection, what could you do differently? How can you avoid that mistake next time around? Hey, real quick guys, if you're just getting started with your LSAT prep or you're looking for a quick refresher, you can grab your free easy LSAT cheat sheet linked below this video. It's jam-packed full of concrete, actionable tactics you can take and apply to your LSAT prep for a quick score boost, and it's 100% free, so you can grab your copy below. And now, back to the show. Now, a lot of folks get overly obsessed with question types and the question stem. I want you to forget about that for a second, because you've got to understand the argument first, aka the stimulus. If you get that part wrong, if you misunderstand it, nothing else matters. Read the argument, understand its structure, then handle the rest. That is how top scorers move fast while also moving accurately. Now, you also want to build a time bank, because it's not enough to get the questions right. You've got to get them right under test day conditions. Now, here's how smart test takers manage their time. They speed through the easy questions in 10-12 minutes, then use the leftover time for the hard ones. If a question's weird, you skip it, flag it, and move on. Then you come back later with a fresh perspective. As a general rule of thumb, first 10 questions in 10 minutes is a good way to go. Now, in reading comp, a lot of folks don't really have a clear approach, or maybe they get overly obsessed with highlighting, underlining, annotating, taking notes. Wrong. That is what average scorers do when they're overwhelmed. Top scorers read once, actively, and they remember what they read. They focus on extracting the big picture, the primary purpose, the main idea, the author's opinion. And you train for this. It really is a muscle to read faster, and you can build it over time. But the key is to stop taking notes. Instead, focus on the big picture, note where the details are mentally, so that you can go back and find them when you need to. Now, a lot of folks will take their practice tests in third-party platforms and use apps, but you've got to use LawHub. That is the only platform that mimics the real exam experience, right down to that glitchy highlighting tool. Just like you wouldn't practice for a concert on a toy piano, you don't practice for an online exam using a book or an app. Use LawHub, train with it, be ready for it, and no, LSAC is not paying me to promote LawHub, although I wish they were. Anyway, let's talk about mindfulness and avoiding test anxiety. It might sound a little bit woo, but a lot of top scorers swear by it. Just 5 minutes a day of mindfulness meditation can literally rewire your brain to help you stay focused. You don't need incense, you don't need a view of a mountain in front of you. Just breathe and reset Focus is a key edge, and you've got to protect it at all costs. This way, if you're spiraling or getting bogged down or stuck, you can recognize it so you can skip that question that's bogging you down, flag it, and come back to it later. Also, sleep, diet, exercise, relaxation, none of those are optional for high scores. You've got to treat your brain like it is a race car engine. Sleep and movement, eating real food, these help you perform at your best even when you're under pressure on test day when the stakes are high and you know that it counts. Now, a lot of folks will say to themselves, the LSAT's dumb, it doesn't test anything important, but if you want to beat the LSAT, you've got to respect it and understand how the test makers think. You've got to become obsessed with the exam, study for it like it's your job. I actually became friends with the guy who used to write real LSAT questions for LSAC, and he literally talked like an LSAT question. You can watch those videos on my channel, and you'll learn more in 30 minutes than from 3 hours of practice. You've got to understand the exam from the test maker's perspective. Think about what goes into writing these questions, what are the tricks and traps they are laying for the unsuspecting test taker, and how can you avoid falling for those traps on your official LSAT. Finally, number 10, and I'll share a bonus tip in just a minute, schedule your exam strategically because test day is not only about prep, it's also about timing. Now, LSAC releases test day slots through Prometric like they're tickets to a Taylor Swift concert, and the best times go fast. So plan ahead, what is your ideal test day window, and be ready to book it the moment registration opens. Now, finally, here's something a lot of students don't know. If you have ADHD or test anxiety, you could get extra time, and I'm talking about time and a half or even double time on the LSAT with accommodations. The rules have changed. Accommodations approvals are far more common now than they used to be, and so if you think it might apply to you, look into it. You have the right to ask for those accommodations. All you need is a note from a qualified professional like a doctor or a psychiatrist. Now, remember these tips. Most people are just going to keep studying the same way and wonder why they're stuck, but that's not going to be you because you've got the blueprint to LSAT test day success. If you'd like my help, check out the links below to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. And in the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.